Hello and welcome to another video. Today I will react to Geography Now Belgium. I will do it in both languages I'm able to speak fluently, means English and German. Heute werde ich auf das Video Geografie jetzt direkt übersetzt reagieren, und zwar zum Land Belgien. Ich werde es in beiden Sprachen, heißt Deutsch und Englisch, tun, wo ich fähig bin, flüssig zu sprechen. I hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe. Ich hoffe, ihr werdet das alle genießen. Bitte abonniert mich. Yes. I think we will just start. About Belgium. Ich glaube, wir werden jetzt einfach anfangen mit Belgien. When I make mistakes in my translations, please forgive me. I claim to be good in English, but it's not my mother language, so of course I do mistakes. Wenn ich Fehler mache, bitte verzeiht mir. Englisch ist nicht meine Muttersprache, also werde ich natürlich Fehler machen, obwohl ich glaube, relativ gut zu sein. But yeah, aber ja, lasst uns einfach anfangen. Let's just start with the video.
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, France had a son named Wallonia, and the Netherlands had a son named Flanders. One day, a bunch of crazy stuff happened in Europe, yada yada yada. After all the crazy stuff subsided, Flanders was like, "Hey, Wallonia, yeah? I'm gonna move out of my parents' place, and I got this new rad apartment, but I kinda need another guy to help me pay for the rent. I don't know, you're kind of a cool guy, I guess. Would you like to be my roommate? Yeah, sure, I guess. Why not? But just for the record, I don't speak any Dutch. Oh, no worries, I don't speak any French." And that's how Belgium became a country, kind of.
Okay, that's of course very funny. I don't know exactly what happened in the early 1800s. Das ist natürlich sehr lustig. Ich weiß nicht ganz genau, was im 18. Jahrhundert, also, okay, nein. I mean the 19th century, it was 1800 something. Nein, ich meine natürlich 1800 irgendwas, also das 19. Jahrhundert. Ja, aber sehr interessant. Very interesting still.
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Paul Barbato. You've all probably at least heard of the name Belgium, and if you have, congrats! That's not enough. Let's dissect the
About Belgium. I mean, the capital of Belgium is Brussels. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. Die Hauptstadt von Belgien ist ja Brüssel. And this Belgium and this Brussels is also a very important city for Europe, for the European Union. It is one of the two places where the European Union, the Parliament is holding sessions. The other one is Strasbourg in France. Brüssel ist deshalb wichtig, weil es auch das Zentrum der EU ist. Das Europäische Parlament trifft sich in Brüssel. Und wenn es sich nicht in Brüssel trifft, trifft es sich auch in Straßburg. Zumindest für eine Sitzungsperiode, glaube ich. For one session, for one, I don't know how to call it in English. Sometimes my English is not enough. But for one period of time of the year, I think one session they meet also in Strasbourg in France. Ich hoffe, I have now translated everything in both languages, dass ich alles jetzt in beiden Sprachen übersetzt habe. Hopefully. Let's continue. Lass uns fortfahren.
flag. First of all, the flag of Belgium looks like the flag of Germany knocked over to the left side, but just keep in mind that the color sequence is black, yellow, red, not black, red, yellow. Also, the flag.
Yeah, I have also often not mistaken the flags. I mean, I'm from Germany, so it's easy to remember my own flag, but yeah, it is very similar. Das ist auch etwas, was ich schon häufig bemerkt habe, und auch in anderen Videos, also in other videos, where people talk about flags, wo andere Menschen über Flaggen reden, that they mistake these flags. I personally have never mistaken them. Ich glaube, ich habe sie nie verwechselt. Wäre auch komisch, wenn ich als Deutscher die Flaggen verwechsle. Aber I can understand if people do this. Ich kann verstehen, wenn Menschen diese Flaggen verwechseln.
flag has an unusual proportion of 13 to 15, making it almost a square. The flag's colors are directly correlated to the country's coat of arms, the black representing the shield and determination, the yellow representing the lion and generosity, and the red representing the lion's claws and tongue and the crown, as well as bravery and strength. Speaking of strength, you're gonna need a lot of it to understand this next part. If you're gonna learn anything about Belgium, the one thing you have to understand is how the country is split up. This is very important, so
That's also very interesting. Das ist auch ziemlich interessant. That there is a Dutch-speaking part, a French-speaking part, and a German-speaking part. Although the German-speaking part is very small. Dass es da einen niederländisch sprechenden Teil gibt, einen französisch sprechenden Teil und einen kleinen deutsch sprechenden Teil. That's very interesting.
pay attention, Brandon!
What? Azerbaijan? Yeah.
Dude, that was like 8 episodes ago! First of all, Belgium is located in Europe, right under the Netherlands, and northeast of France, right at the foot of the North Sea, next to the English Channel. In the most fundamental way I can put this, Belgium is divided into 3 regions. The Dutch, or the Flemish-speaking North region, called Flanders, the South, or French Walloon region, called Wallonia, and the capital, Brussels, acts in itself as a 3rd region, and functions in a completely bilingual way. Most of the people in Brussels speak both Dutch and French, however French is a little bit more prevalent. Got it? Okay, good, because we're not done. Each of the Flanders and Wallonia regions are then divided into 5 provinces each, making a total of 10 provinces. Brussels doesn't count.
Where is the German-speaking part? I think it is a small part of the French-speaking part at the corner to Germany. It's very small just. Ich habe mich gefragt, wo der deutsch sprechende Teil ist, aber ich glaube, er ist innerhalb des französisch sprechenden Teils nur halt ziemlich klein am Rand.
And is considered its own region, not belonging to either Flanders or Wallonia, even though technically it's completely engulfed in Flanders. But then again, the region around Brussels has a French administrative area around the city called the BHV, or the Bruxelles-Alvivoud County, in which large numbers of French minorities live and can be judged in French, even though it's in Flanders. Still with me? Good, because it gets even crazier. The French also have administrative centers in the southeast and the southwest regions of Flanders, and a Wallonian municipal exclave in the West Flanders province called Commune Warneton, even though most of the people there speak Dutch. Furthermore, the Flemish have one municipal exclave in the Liège province in Wallonia called Vuren. Oh, we're just getting started though. Then you have the German-speaking minority in the east of Wallonia.
Yeah, I knew it was just a very small thing, but now he's mentioning it. Ich wusste, dass es echt nur ein kleiner Teil ist, aber jetzt erwähnt er es auch.
In the Liège province, whom are making propositions to create an 11th province called Upton-Saint-Vie. Speaking of Germans, Belgium has a lot, and I repeat, a lot of weird territorial claims and boundaries. For one, there are technically 5 German exclaves hidden right along the border of the Liège province in East Belgium. However, these exclaves are only separated from mainland Germany from a Belgian train track, the Vennbahn, which is no longer in use. This means that you can be in Germany and only have 10 meters between you and Belgium between you go back into Germany. The smallest of these German exclaves is just a small house near the German town of Kosen, with a front yard less than 2 hectares in area. Oh, but wait, there's more. Then you reach the ever so confusing town of Barelnassa and Barelhertog, in which there are 22.
This looks very much like between Bangladesh and India at some point, where the exclaves and enclaves exist all around the area, and it's totally confusing. Das sieht ein wenig so aus wie so eine Landkarte mit Exklaven und Enklaven zwischen Indien und Bangladesch, wo alles wie ein Flickenteppich durcheinander gewürfelt aussieht. Aber interessant. Very interesting still.
Belgian enclaves in the Netherlands and 8 Dutch enclaves in Belgium, 7 of which are counter enclaves, or a part of the Netherlands in Belgium in the Netherlands. These borders at first make no sense. Apparently they cross awkwardly through streets, buildings, restaurants, stores, and even...
Yes, that's, I have also seen here a few, let's see.
These borders at first make no sense. Apparently they cross awkwardly through streets.
Yeah, this kind of borders where there's just this mark on the road saying here's Belgium, here's France, or here Belgium and Netherlands in this case. Ich habe von diese Fotos schon mal gesehen in anderen Videos, wo diese Grenze einfach so mitten durch die Straße verläuft und auf der einen Seite ist Belgien und Niederlande und it looks weird and it feels weird. Why is it the case still? But it's also nice. I mean, it's all European Union. It doesn't make a big difference, but yeah. Ich meine, es macht heutzutage keinen großen Unterschied mehr. Wir haben die Europäische Union und es ist nicht mehr so wichtig, wo jetzt welches Land ist, aber es ist trotzdem lustig. Finde ich. I think this.
buildings, restaurants, stores, and even houses. A person can literally wake up in one country and shower in the other. The rule is, whatever side your front door is on is the country that you pay your taxes to. The reason why it's so confusing is because long story
what is when the door is? I mean, what is if the under the door the border is? Interesting. Do you have to pay to both countries taxes or to no country? Anyway, was ist, wenn die Tür genau über der Grenze ist? Also wenn der Grenzverlauf unter der Tür verläuft. Also musst du dann in beiden Ländern Steuer bezahlen oder in keinem Land?
story short, there was a guy ruling the area called Henry I, Duke of Brabant, who gave parcels of land to Godfrey II of Schoten, who ruled the area to the east, in an attempt to build an alliance so that his enemy Dirk VII wouldn't expand his influence. Long story short, Henry's land became Belgium, and Godfrey's land became the Netherlands. To this day, the two countries have stayed true to Godfrey and Henry's agreements, and have split the land exactly how they did. But wait, we're not...
That does of course not make any sense anymore, while holding up a rule from centuries ago. Das macht natürlich heutzutage keinen Sinn mehr. Warum irgendwelche Regeln aufrechterhalten, die vor hunderten von Jahren von irgendwelchen Fürsten from some no, I forgot the English word. From Fürsten nobles decided by some nobles. Why keep up these rules? Warum aufrechterhalten? Warum sollte man diese Regeln heutzutage noch aufrechterhalten? Sorry if I sometimes also speak a very weird German. I try my best to switch between the languages, but it's sometimes difficult. Ich versuche mein Bestes immer quasi flüssig überzugehen von Englisch in Deutsch, von Deutsch in Englisch. Entschuldigung, wenn ich manchmal da keine guten, vollständigen deutschen Sätze hervorbringe. Tut mir leid.
Not done just yet. Finally, you have the confusing Lys Rivière Canalari River in the border between the Walloon province of Hainaut and France. Starting in the town of Hallou in France, this river zigzags for about 26 kilometers with multiple river islets and land pieces that act as penne enclaves until it all stops in the town of Armentières. Each side has an equal 7 enclaves each along the river. Okay, now let's talk about the landscape. It's mostly flat. Outside the cities, there's farms and forests. It's pretty lush and green. However, the Worldwide Fund for Nature ranked Belgium pretty low in terms of their environmental performance, and the water quality was the lowest in the EU, mostly due to the high population density. Belgium isn't really agriculturally driven. I mean, economically, most of their revenue comes from machinery, pharmaceuticals, diamonds, many of which were imported from the Congo. We'll explain about that in a little bit, and service and industry jobs.
Yeah, it's a big Belgium colony, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Also an interesting country which is now part of the East African Community. They want to create the East African Federation, a new country potentially country in the south of Africa. Very interesting. Natürlich gibt es dann noch die Kronkolonie Kongo, nicht Kolongo, ich weiß nicht, was ich gerade sagen wollte. Demokratische Republik vom Kongo, aus dem Kongo. Ich weiß gar nicht wirklich gerade, wie das Land auf Deutsch echt offiziell heißt. Demokratische Republik Kongo. Eine Kolonie von Belgien, wo ein sehr interessantes Land, habe ich gesagt auf der Englisch gerade, glaube ich, welches Teil der East African Community, ostafrikanische Gemeinschaft ist, die East African Community will einen neuen Staat erschaffen später. Sie arbeiten daran seit den 60ern, since the 1960s or so. Dieser Staat soll dann heißen Ostafrikanische Föderation, East African Federation, und wird ein ziemlich großer Staat sein. Ich glaube, der 7. größte von der Fläche, the 7th biggest country in the world, when I'm not mistaken, and also a very populous one, maybe the 10th most populous country in the world, und vielleicht der 10. meistbevölkerste Staat der Welt dann, wenn es ihn dann gibt. Let's continue with the video. We are just halfway done. The video is just 5 minutes already, and I have already recorded 14 minutes. Das Video läuft gerade mal 5 Minuten, aber ich habe schon 14 Minuten aufgenommen. But I think it was or it is interesting for you to also hear me speaking German at some in this video. Ich denke, es könnte interessant sein für zumindest einige, mich Deutsch sprechen zu hören und diese Episode als bilingual Geography Now Reaction. Bilinguale Geografie Reaktion oder so. Let's continue. Lass uns fortfahren.
As well. Okay, that's about it. Moving on. Now this is where things get really strange. In the shortest way I can put this, Belgium is kind of like an artificial country with technically no distinct former identity in which two regions kind of became roommates, and the respective communities have a government with the same power as the central government. Huh, and you thought Andorra was confusing with that whole co-principality thing. Brother, please, I'm Belgium. Sit down, I'm gonna give you a lesson in complication mathematics. First of all, Belgium has a little less than 11 million people. At about 57%, the slight majority of people are Flemish from Flanders, about 42% are Walloon from Wallonia, and 1% German from the German community. Keep in mind, although it's debatable, the terms Flemish and Walloon are more in reference to linguistic communities and not ethnicities. By definition, you could have a Congolese guy in Liège identifying as a Walloon and a Moroccan guy in Antwerp identifying as a Fleming. As long as they speak the languages and become citizens, that's pretty much it. In terms of race, though, about 77% of the people identify as ethnically Belgian, and the remaining 23% identify as non-Belgian in origin, some of the largest groups being Moroccans, Italians, Turks, and even Congolese from the Democratic Republic of Congo, as it was a former Belgian colony, along with Rwanda and Burundi, which is where a lot of the diamonds we talked about earlier come from. The Belgians even took over a small part of China for a couple decades in the 20th century in Tianjin, after quickly giving it back, and to this day, pictures from the Belgian Chinese colony are some of the rarest photos you can find in historical archives. As we mentioned, Belgium has 3 distinct regions: Flanders, Walloon, and Brussels. However, regions weren't enough, and so Belgium decided to split things up even more into communities. Due to the German-speaking minority, predominantly in the southeast, Belgium created a semi-mediary third community, even though only 1% of the country actually speaks German, less than the amount of people in Belgium who actually speak Arabic, and has instituted 3 separate governments and parliaments, one for each language group: the Dutch, French, and German. Each of these governments actually has just as much power as the central government. Wait, what? On top of that, the French and Dutch communities are allowed to provide cultural
That's very funny. Das ist schon ziemlich lustig. It's this tiny piece of German people who live there. I mean, their language is the same, I mean, as important as Dutch and French. Dass diese kleine Gemeinschaft von Deutschen, die dort leben, dieselbe quasi in Häkchen Macht haben, wie die französischen und die niederländischen. Interesting.
and social services to the citizens in Brussels, but not in the other region. This means that a family living in Brussels could possibly depend upon the central government for taxes, the French government for community centers, the Dutch government for schools, and the Brussels government for the police force. 4 governments acting at once. And then you have a king. Long story short, Belgium became a constitutional monarchy that started in 1830 with Philippe I as the current head of state. They are the only monarchy in Europe with no actual crown or lavish robes and scepters. They gained independence from the Netherlands. French-speaking Wallonia joined along, and then they chose a German prince to become their first king. In terms of culture, Belgium can be attributed to a lot of things. For one, some of the world's most renowned surrealist artists came from Belgium, like
So they decided to become a constitutional monarchy in 1830. I mean, normally, so haben sie sich entschieden, 1830 eine konstitutionelle Monarchie zu werden. Warum? I mean, normally monarchies are a relic of the past, of just a long development, and then someone became king, and then his children became king or queen or whatsoever. Normalerweise haben Monarchien doch eine lange Geschichte, und irgendwann ist dann halt mal jemand König geworden und dann seine Nachfahren, aber by deciding to become a constitutional monarchy, I don't understand. Warum sollte man sich dafür entscheiden, eine Monarchie zu werden?
René Magritte, cartoons like the Smurfs, and my homeboy Tintin. I have read almost every single one of those comics.
Tintin. I'm not sure. Is it pronounced Tintin? Is it pronounced? Or is it Tintin? I'm not sure. I'm not French. Wie ist die richtige Aussprache? Tintin, wie er es gemacht hat, oder Tintin, wie ich es gemacht habe? I don't know. I heard just my pronunciation. Ich habe nur meine eigene Aussprache, also ihr habt es wahrscheinlich von meinen Eltern gelernt. I learned from my parents, I think. So, yeah. Let's continue.
Ain't nobody mess with Tintin. That dude is mad boss. The national dish is mussels with French fries and mayonnaise. Belgians will tell you that fries originate.
Probably, he is right. But yeah, it's okay. Wahrscheinlich hat er recht. Er hat wahrscheinlich recherchiert. He researched probably. So, yeah.
Originated from Belgium. And of course, waffles. They make some of the best chocolate in the world that rivals Switzerland. And of course, everyone's favorite Belgian, Jean-Claude Van Damme. They host the headquarters of the EU and are typically called upon to help Europe administer their diplomatic affairs. Affairs with other countries we'll discuss in... Oh, Belgium, Belgium, Belgium. When will you learn? First of all, Belgium is a very neutral country after gaining independence from the Netherlands. Belgium quickly rose to become one of the leading powers of the industrialized Europe world, and it was a founding member of both the EU and NATO. This means that since day one, Belgium has had a huge entourage of affiliates that they've kind of kept close. However, some are still closer than others. The UK has always been a good buddy of Belgium since they played a pivotal role in the independence of Belgium. The US is also a good friend, and to this day, they still commemorate the Battle of the Bulge, in which the US played a huge role in during the liberation of Belgium in World War II. The only country that might have a little bit of a distaste towards Belgium might be the Democratic Republic of Congo, as they were occupied and became a colony for a little less than a century. Belgium kind of did a lot of things to the Congo. Although tensions are generally eased off a bit today and numerous Congolese people immigrate to Belgium yearly, there's still a somewhat aversion that lingers on in the back of each Congolese mind when history is brought up. Of course, as you would guess, France is a close friend too, whom not only played a role in Belgium's independence, but also culturally resonates with the South Walloon region as well. The Netherlands is a close friend as they jive well with the Flanders region, despite the fact that they have a somewhat friendly rivalry with each other. Over the years, many referendums have actually passed in Belgium in which they almost considered re-annexing themselves back to their respective neighboring countries, the Netherlands and France. However, they just can't seem to do it, even though the sense of nationalism is kind of weak, except during soccer games in which they go all out Belgian pride. They still can't seem to let go of each other for some weird reason. In terms of their best friend though, they would probably consider Luxembourg. Luxembourg is kind of seen as like the little brother of Belgium and has been there with Belgium since the very beginning. They were even for a short while part of Belgium after independence, and their own monarchs, Philip I and Grand Duke Henry, are actually cousins too. In conclusion, Belgium is disputably the most confusing politically engineered country in all of Europe, and by all means it makes no sense how they've kept it together for almost 200 years, but they actually did somehow. Belgium, we dip our fries in mayonnaise to you. Stay tuned, Belize is coming up next.
It was a very old video from Geography Now. Es war ein recht altes Video von Geografie jetzt. I like this German translation, it's just weird. Ich mag diese Übersetzung. Sie ist ein bisschen merkwürdig, aber anyway. About the national pride thing. Über diesen Nationalstolz. I don't know why national pride is such a big thing for some countries. I respect it. I mean, as long as it's not aggressive. Ich respektiere es, solange es nicht aggressiv ist. Also, macht was ihr wollt. Do what you want, but why, I mean, why is it so important whether you know, for example, Belgium now, the the north part, which, where they speak Dutch, would come back to the Netherlands, or the other part to France, or so. I mean, why is it so important? Why is it, I mean, I just don't understand national pride so much in general. So, ich verstehe, glaube ich, Nationalstolz im ganz allgemein gar nicht so wirklich. I'm not proud to be German. Ich bin nicht stolz darauf, Deutsch zu sein. I'm happy to have a decent life here in Germany, but also ich bin glücklich darüber, ein gutes Leben zu haben hier in Deutschland, but I'm not proud to be German. I mean, I would not fight for Germany if Germany would be attacked by another country. Ich würde nicht für Deutschland kämpfen, wenn Deutschland von irgendeinem anderen Land angegriffen werden würde. So, as long as it's not aggressive, I think national pride can be okay, but I don't understand why it is so important for some people. Ich glaube, halt, solange es nicht aggressiv ist und solange keiner darunter leidet, kann es wirklich Nationalstolz, kann ich, also meinetwegen, aber ich verstehe nicht, warum. Yeah. Tell me in the comments how you liked this episode. Also the part where I speak both languages. Schreibt mir in die Kommentare, wie ihr das fandet, dass ich beide Sprachen gesprochen habe. It is of course exhausting a bit for me, but well, if you like it, I can do it maybe more often. Es ist natürlich anstrengend für mich, aber wenn ihr es mögt, kann ich es gerne wieder tun. Ja. Subscribe for my channel, abonniert meinen Kanal. And follow me on Twitter if you want. Und folgt mir auf Twitter, wenn ihr wollt. Ja. Dann see you next time. Bis zum nächsten Mal.